Hey guys, it's Corinne here from It's So Corinne, and I am so excited that you are here for today's tutorial. Now, before we begin, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the It's So Corinne YouTube channel so you get alerts when I make new videos, just like this. And if you would like to see other sewing, crochet, and craft tutorials with step-by-step instructions and snag free printable patterns, be sure to visit my blog at itssocorinne.com. So are you ready to begin? Then let's go make something amazing. For today's tutorial, we will be crocheting this super cute potted cactus that has this really adorable little flower on top. I am super excited about this little guy because I can't keep plants alive. So this is the perfect plant for me because you can put him on a shelf and in your office or practically anywhere and you never have to water him. So it's a total score for me. Now to make this super cute cactus, you are going to need a few supplies. The first on the list is, you guessed it, yarn. You're going to need yarn in 4 different colors. Now I used 100% cotton yarn for the cactus, and I used Hobby Lobby's in-house cotton brand, which I am a huge fan of. And you need 4 colors, one for the flower, the cactus, the soil, and then the pot. Now next on the list is fiber fill. You need to have fiber fill so you can fill the cactus portion and also the pot portion. Next on the list is, of course, a crochet hook. You need a letter F 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. And then next on the list is your stitch marker. We will be working in the round for all the pieces of the cactus, which means you will be working in a continuous circle. So you will need to mark your first stitch. So next on the list and the last item is a yarn needle, so you can sew all the parts together and also hide the yarns. So once you have collected all of your supplies, we are ready to begin. To make the pot for your potted cactus, we are going to insert 6 single crochets into a magic ring. So there's the first one. Then we're going to do 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have 6 single crochets for round 1. And then what we're going to do is pull on the tail of the magic ring, and then we're going to tighten that magic ring up. And I don't like to tighten my magic ring super tight until after like round 2, because I find that it's hard to put round 2 in if you tighten it really tight in round 1. So for round 1 we'll have 6 stitches. For round 2 we will be inserting an increase into each stitch of the previous round, and an increase is just 2 single crochets put into the same stitch. So that's 1 and that's 2, and then we would just continue that all the way around. At the end of round 2 you will have 12 stitches, and as you can see I still have quite a hole in the middle of the pot. So I just tighten it there and then it gets super tight. So for round 3, you're going to insert a single crochet into the first stitch, and then we will be adding an increase into the next stitch. So that's your single, and then this is your increase, and then we're going to continue that all the way around. A single crochet and then an increase. For round 3, you will have 18 stitches. For round 4, we will be inserting a single crochet into the first 2 stitches. So that's 1 and that's 2, and then we'll be adding an increase. So you have a single crochet, and then an increase, and then we're going to repeat that all the way around. At the end of round 4 you will have 24 stitches. For round 5 we will be inserting a single crochet into each of the first 3 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to insert an increase. And then you're just going to repeat that all the way around. A single in the next of each of the next 3 stitches, and then an increase. So we have the increase, so single, 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 and then increase. At the end of round 5, you will have 30 stitches. For round 6, we will be putting a single crochet into each stitch of the previous round, but we will be adding it into the back loop of the stitch. So that's our first one. So to do the back loop, you look and each stitch has a front loop where my thumb is and then a back loop. So you just want to insert it in between, go into the center of the stitch, go through the back loop, and then you would crochet your single crochet as normal. And this is going to give us a really nice ridge, so that way the pot sits and we can start building upwards this way. And as you can see how it's starting to roll up? That's exactly what we want. We want this to be the base where the pot sits, and these are going to be the walls of the pot. So continue single crocheting in the back loop all the way around. At the end of round 6, you will have 30 stitches. And as you can see, it created a base, almost like a little cup, which is perfect because we're going to start building our walls now. So for rounds 7 and 8, you're going to single crochet into each stitch of the previous round, and just single crochet for each stitch of round 7, and then for each stitch of round 8. At the end of round 7, you will have 30 stitches, and at the end of round 8, you will have 30 stitches. For round 9, we will be placing a single crochet into each of the first 4 stitches of the round. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we are going to increase. So we will repeat this pattern all the way around, a single crochet in the next 4 stitches, and then an increase. At the end of round 9, you will have 36 stitches. For rounds 10 and 11, you're going to just be placing a single crochet into each stitch of the previous round. So single crochet into each stitch of the round for round 10 and also 11. At the end of round 10, you will have 36 stitches, and then at the end of round 11, you will also have 36 stitches. For round 12, we will be working in the front loop only. So just like we did before, but we were working in the back loop, now we're going to work in the front loop. So you just want to go under and come up underneath the front loop. We're going to place a single crochet, and we're going to repeat this all the way around. We're going to put a single crochet into each front loop of every stitch of the previous round. So you just want to swoop up underneath the front loop and then single crochet. At the end of round 12, you will have 36 stitches. And as you can tell, because we went into the front loop, you see how it's turning under? That's exactly what we want because we're making the rim of the pot. So for round 13, we are going to be putting a single crochet into the back loop only. And this is going to give it that nice little rim that you see little pots have. So you're going to just go into the center of the stitch and go into the back loop only. And you're going to place a single crochet in the back loop only of every stitch of the previous round. At the end of round 13, you will have 36 stitches. For rounds 14 and 15, you're going to just place a single crochet into every stitch of the previous round. So do that for both round 14 and 15. At the ends of round 14 and 15, you will have 36 stitches each. When you get done with single crocheting all the way around in round 15, the last step is to slip stitch into the first stitch of round 15. And then once that is done, you can cut off and fasten in your tail. And I like to weave in this tail all the way down past this little ledge and down here, and then hide it down here, because what's going to happen in a little bit is we are going to sew the soil to this little ledge of round 12. So if you hide your tail up here, there is a chance that you could see it later on. So just hide your tail further down here, which would be inside the pot that you will never see. So once you have done that, you can set your pot aside while we make the other pieces. To make the soil for your cactus, you will insert 6 single crochets into a magic ring. So here's our first one. All right, let's do 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. We're going to pull the tail of the magic ring to bring that together. And then at the end of round 1, you will have 6 stitches. Now for round 2, you will be inserting an increase into each stitch of the previous round. So an increase, of course, is just 2 stitches. So that's 1. And then 2. You just repeat that all the way around. At the end of round 2, you will have 12 stitches. For round 3, we will be inserting a single crochet into the first stitch of the round, and then an increase into the next stitch. So, and we're going to repeat that, single crochet, then increase. And just repeat that all the way around. At the end of round 3, you will have 18 stitches. For round 4, we will be inserting a single crochet into the first 2 stitches, and then an increase into the next stitch. So you have, ooh, I'm losing my stitch marker. So you will do a single crochet, oops, single crochet, and then an increase, and repeat that all the way around. At the end of round 3, you will have 18 stitches. For round 4, we will be inserting a single crochet into the first 2 stitches, and then an increase. So you have single, single, increase. And then we're going to repeat that all the way around. Single, single, then increase. At the end of round 4, you will have 24 stitches. For round 5, we will be placing a single crochet into each of the first 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then increase. So we're going to repeat that all the way around. A single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then an increase. At the end of round 5, you will have 30 stitches. For round 6, we will be inserting a single crochet into the first 4 stitches. It's 1, 2, oops. So that's 3, 4, and then an increase. And you're going to repeat that around. You're going to do a single crochet in the next 4 stitches, and then an increase. At the end of round 6, you will have 36 stitches. And this is the last round for this soil. So what you want to do is just leave a generous tail for sewing, because we are going to sew this to the pot in a little bit. So you just want to pull that out. And then you want to set it aside until we get the cactus made. To make the cactus, you will insert 6 single crochets into a magic ring. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you just want to pull your magic tail, which I didn't leave much of a tail in this one. You just want to pull your magic tail until your single crochets come together like this. And then round 1 is complete, and then you will have 6 stitches. For round 2, we will be inserting a increase into each of the previous stitches. So there's 1. Oops, moved my tail. And then 2. And then you'll just repeat that all the way around. Put an increase into each of the previous stitches. At the end of round 2, you will have 12 stitches. For round 3, we are going to insert a half double crochet into the front post of the first stitch. And how you do that is you're going to yarn over just like you would for a half double crochet. You're going to insert it into the first stitch from the front, and then you're going to come out the stitch right beside it. And then you're going to yarn over, pull through, and then finish the stitch. And that is a front post half double crochet. And the reason why we are doing this is because for the cactus, it's going to have these little ridges that make it look like an actual cactus. So we're just going to put our stitch marker there. And then for the next stitch, we are going to put 3 single crochets. Now, because we did a front post, technically we came out of this stitch, but that isn't the first stitch. That's the second stitch. So that is where we will be putting our 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3. And that completes the first set of the pattern. And then we're going to repeat that. We're going to go into the front post of the next stitch. We're going to do a half double crochet around the front post, and then we're going to add 3 single crochets into the next stitch. And I know technically it looks like you're coming out of the same stitch, but it's not. So let's do that one more time. We're going to do a half double crochet around the front post, and then we're going to add 3 single crochets right beside it. Then you're just going to repeat that all the way around. At the end of round 3, you will have 24 stitches. For round 4, we are going to do a half double crochet front post for the first stitch. And then you should be able to start seeing that there's going to be a ridge right here. And then we are going to add a single crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to repeat that. We're going to do a half double crochet around the front post of the next stitch, and then we're going to, my yarn came apart, hold on. Okay, then we're going to add a single crochet into the next stitch. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. At the end of round 4, you will have 24 stitches. For round 5 through 9, we are going to actually just repeat the process that we did in round 4. So you're going to do a half double crochet around the front post of the first stitch, and then you're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch. You're just going to repeat that all the way around. You're going to do a front post half double crochet and then a single crochet beside it. Then you're going to just repeat that all the way around. After you have finished round 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, you will have 24 stitches for each round. For round 10, which is our last round, we are going to do a front post half double crochet into the first stitch, and then we are going to do a single crochet into the next stitch, and then we are going to do an invisible decrease in the next stitch, and they're going to repeat that around. We're going to do front post half double crochet, single crochet, and then invisible decrease. And all an invisible decrease is you insert it into the front loop of the first stitch, and then you insert it into the front loop of the next stitch. You yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and finish the stitch. And then you're going to repeat that all the way around. At the end of round 10, you will have 18 stitches. And then once you have finished putting in all your stitches for round 10, all you got to do is slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. And then we are done. And all you need to do is leave a long tail for sewing, because we're going to sew that onto the soil in a little bit. You can pull this out. Go ahead and pull that out. And then we can go ahead and stuff this little bad boy. You can stuff him, and you can stuff him as much as you want. I mean, it's really not going to matter about like it standing up or anything, sitting flat. But you want to stuff him enough where he will stand up by himself. But cotton yarn is pretty stiff, so it wants to stand up on its own anyways. So you just want to stuff it until you think it looks cute. That's pretty cute. And then set him aside until you have all of your parts completed. To make the flower for the cactus, you're going to make a magic ring, and then inside the magic ring, you are going to insert a single crochet, and then you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you are going to slip stitch inside of the magic ring, and then that is our first petal. So what you're going to do is you're going to do that again. You're going to do a single crochet inside of the magic ring, chain 3, and then slip stitch inside of the magic ring. And then this is our second flower petal, and you can't really tell right now, but once we pull the tail of the magic ring, you will be able to tell. So you need to repeat that a total of 5 times. So we already have 2, so I only need 3 more. So go ahead and repeat that exact pattern, the single crochet inside of the magic ring, chain 3, and then slip stitch in the magic ring. Once you have repeated the stitch pattern 5 times total, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to pull your working yarn a little bit, because you don't want to, when you pull your working yarn, to come undone and then you lose all your petals. So pull that, and then find your tail of your magic ring, and then start slowly pulling the magic ring, and then you can see we are making our little flower come together. Look how cute that is, guys. And then all you want to do once your flower is finished is cut your yarn and leave a tail so you can sew it onto the cactus. And then pull that out. And then look how cute that is, y'all. Then we can just set that aside. Once you have all of your parts for your cactus crocheted, it is now time to assemble them. So what you want to do is grab your soil and your cactus, and we are going to sew the cactus onto the soil. And we're going to do that in the center of the soil. And what I like to do is, you can see, I started here. That's where I ended up. So that's where my first stitches are. And then this also is where I started. So I like to put them the same direction, because I like to put those towards the back. So once you decide, I really just eyeball this, what the center is, but once you decide, you can just go down into your soil, and you want to make sure that you're not catching the tail of the soil while you're doing this, because we need to leave that free. And then come up through the soil and grab one of the bottom stitches in the cactus, and then just go back down through the same hole that you went through, and then that is fastened to the soil. And then you want to just repeat that process. You want to come up through the soil, go through the next bottom loop. Oops, I caught my tail. Okay, and then go back down And then that stitch is fastened, see? And then you just want to complete that all the way around. Now, as you're sewing, once you get to almost the end and you decide you don't like how full your cactus is, that's the time to stuff it some more, because once it's sewn together, you're not going to be able to stuff it anymore. Once you have your cactus sewn onto your soil, you can go ahead and sew your flower onto the cactus. Now, I like to take the long end that we left on the flower and just take that and put that through the center, so that way the thread gets pulled into the center and kind of pulls in that little petal. See, like so. And then I like to roll up my little flower to make it look more like a little desert flower. And then you want to decide where you want it. Like I said, this was my beginning and end of each round, so this is going to be my front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place mine like right here. So when I turn it sideways, it's going to be like this, like a little bow. And then I'm just going to go in with the long one. Get this one out of the way for a minute. And then I'm just going to come up through the flower and add some stitches into the flower to secure it. And then I'm going to tie it off and then hide the ends into my cactus. Once you have your flowers sewn on, what you can do is just tie off your yarn and then go into the cactus from another thing, another hole, pop in your knot and then cut your yarn. And then you can go ahead, I just tuck it in with the end of my yarn needle if it doesn't pop in itself. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. We're just going to, oh, I'm a little stuck. Okay, we're just going to tie a knot in this, and then we're going to hide this one as well. And then we can move on to sewing this to the pot, which I am very excited about. Okay. Just gonna take my little yarn needle, shove it in a little bit more. Okay, we don't want to see all that. And then look how cute that is. It has this little blue flower. And then it is totally ready to go onto the pot. And what we're going to do is I'm going to, again, find my seam. And I'm going to roll down the rim of the pot. I remember back in round 12, we made this little ridge. That is what we are going to sew this onto. So what you're going to do is take your tail, and then we are going to match this up, and you're going to go through this first rim or edge, whatever you want to call it, and then you're going to go through the first stitch of your soil, and then you're going to pull that through, and then you're going to repeat that. You're going to go into the next one and go into the next stitch of the soil, go into the next of the rim, the next stitch of the soil, and then you're going to continue that all the way around until you get, I think I have a knot in my yarn. Yeah, there we go. I kept pulling when I was going. You're going to continue this all the way around until you get to almost the end. You don't want to go too far. Once you get to like this much, once you get to like right here, you want to stop, because we do need to stuff the pot before we finish it, unless you want an empty pot. But if you did that, it'll probably like plop over. So go to about right here and then stop. Once you've come to about like 2 inches from the end, that's when you want to start stuffing your pot for your cactus. And you want to stuff it enough so it'll stand up, but at the same time you don't want to stuff it too full, because otherwise it'll make the bottom like poochy and it won't stand up. So it's a delicate balance. You just gotta play with it, and you can even roll up the rim and have it seated there and see if you like how it's sitting. And if not, then you can add more. I think this is about good. Let's see. Yes, it's pretty well. I'm going to put a little bit more. I have a tendency to overstuff things, so a lot of times I have to tell myself to pull back. Okay. Okie dokie. And then once it is stuffed, we just have to finish our sewing, and then we are going to do the same thing. We are going to hide the ends in of the yarn. I guess the end, not plural. We're going to hide the end of the yarn inside the pot. So you just want to continue to sew until you get to the end. Okay. And I always like to go back through the first one again once I get there, and then what I'm going to do is go back into it, and then I am going to make sure that I don't get the rim when I do this. Come out aside, okay, and pull it tight, but not too tight, because you don't want to pull the soil down, and you have like an impression there if you do that. So you want to tie a knot, and then you want to go back in the same exact hole we came out of, pop the knot through, and then pull this really tight and cut the yarn, and then hide it if you can still see it. And then what you're going to do is we're going to roll this up, and then you have your finished cactus, and all you want to do is play with the pot. If you play with the pot, you can make it sit up. You just have to play with the stuffing that's on the inside, and then you're good to go. You can put this anywhere that you like. And I think this is super, super cute, and I love that I don't have to water it because I am terrible with plants. So, as always, if you like this video, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the It's a Karini YouTube channel so you get alerts when I make new videos just like this. So until next time, go make something amazing.